But where did you buy the margarita mix from?
In the zoo. I
Like
got
in
the
the
country
gift shop?
now.
Like you bought it from the gift shop?
Nah, they had stands outside in the trees. You know, you got the ooh, 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 ooh sounds all around you and stuff. It was out there.
Calling out all my nerds, freaks, and geeks. It's mob time.
Don't tune in cause it's showtime. Go ahead and call the gang up for the one time. Rap, Phoop, Ryun, got them on the line. And my life's still great, I'm doing just fine. Hands up.
What's up, y'all, and welcome to the Blerd Mob, your hub for all things black and nerdy. I am your host, Phoop, joined by my co-host, Ryun. If you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any other streaming service, make sure you hit that follow button so you can get updates from the mob.
And if you nerds, freaks, and geeks are watching us on YouTube, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on those bell notifications for future uploads, and share it with a friend.
All right, we are on episode 42 of the Blerd Mob podcast, and I want to start the episode by saying this. Me and Ron have found the master ball. After many years of searching and being very disappointed in these StockX ass prices.
Yeah.
We have came up on a lick from the eBay of UK and found the master ball.
The eBay of UK.
The eBay of UK and found the master ball.
For a little bit of background for the non-long-term fans, this ain't no free advertisement. One company, y'all better send us some money. The master ball was exclusive. The first drop for America, 5,000. Guess how much they going for now, Phoop, on some websites?
How much?
I've seen them at $1,000 on some websites, $500 on others.
That's crazy.
But they did a re-release about a year ago. The UK drop. They ain't numbered. I don't know if it was limited to 5,000 or what. And there's one seller on eBay. He caught a lick, got a good amount of them, and it's legit. I did the background research. It's legit, bro.
Hey,
and I'm so happy to have it.
Ryan,
you ordered it right after.
Because I already told you. I was like, I'm going to wait for yours to get in. And if you tell me it's legit, I'm buying it.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, I got something else to show you. I'm going to describe it for the audio only.
Okay. We got the Pokemon set with the Gen 1 starters, Bulbasaur, Charmander, and scooted over just a little bit more.
Squirtle.
With Squirtle.
Yeah,
I bought that the Storm one you sent me, the glow in the dark.
Yeah.
I bought that yesterday.
Y'all, I be having Phoop spending money. I be like, hey, look, I just spent money. Let me send you something that's gonna make you want to spend some too.
I was waiting for them taxes to drop. It's tax season.
We here. We've been paying our taxes all year long. It's time to get that refund.
Hell yeah. Hey, Ryan, cut your mic down like 2 notches.
I got you. She said I'm yelling too much.
No, I just don't want your stuff to peak. And when I'm editing, when you start peaking and then your words start cutting out.
Oh, yeah. But, bruh, it's a good time to be a nerd.
It's a good, man. Also, if you watch the Black History Month episode, you know that I just got off a cruise. And let me say this. Sometimes it comes to a certain point in our lives where sometimes you got to take a vacation from the vacation. When I tell you, it's something about going on vacation and coming back, and then everything is just so chaotic. Especially when you end the vacation at the beginning of the week. Like I came back on Monday, so that means I had Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to go to work and just move through the chaos. I got clothes in my room, clothes in the bathroom. I ain't unpacked the suitcase yet.
Do you clean up before you go on vacation?
I usually do. What happened this go round, it just didn't make it. It just didn't make it this time.
Yeah.
But usually I try to. Because I like the idea of, cleaning up and then coming back to a clean, gotta worry about nothing. But this time I didn't do it. And it's been chaotic. It's been chaotic ever since. What's that first line of that Frank Ocean song? A tornado flew around my room.
Hey, that's the title of the episode right there. A tornado flew around.
Like, it honestly, when we get into these topics of the day, it's about to we might have to. I'm gonna write that down. Write that down. Write that
Tornado
down.
flew around.
But like,
Bruh.
sometimes you gotta take a vacation from the vacation. You got to.
Honestly, I'm about to get to the point where I'm gonna start making my vacations when I arrive back home. It's like on a Thursday or Friday. Because you come back to work, you got to catch up on emails. Everybody want to message you. I hope you have fun, but I need this from you. What? What?
I'm talking about Tuesday, went back to work. I gave myself some time. I didn't go in at my usual time, so I gave myself the time to, lollygag.
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday, we had to do the live stream. Thursday, I had to go to class. I had to go to work and I had to go to class. And it wasn't like I could skip this week's class because I skipped last week's class because I was on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Then Friday, I had to pull the 8 hours, and it was just like,
I already know, bro. I'm in school too. Thankfully, this is an easy class.
Like, sometimes you got to take a vacation from the vacation. You got to let yourself adjust back to reality. Give yourself a day just to give you that transition. Because coming back from vacation and then trying to hop back into it the next day,
it ain't for the week.
It don't sometimes.
Especially them good vacations when you've been out all day, like, and you got a whole itinerary. Because that's how we do. We set itineraries for our vacations, so it honestly becomes a little bit of work. We don't be relaxing on our vacations if you pay attention. We be on the move each day.
We plan the relaxation. If we relaxing, it's because it's in the itinerary.
Look, we'll like this 2 hours. We can take a nap, shower
this 2
again,
hours, take a nap, do whatever the f you want. But at 5 o'clock, we back out.
Back out.
we back out. But like, yo,
I love it though.
With my ass.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to talk about this right quick before we get into the topics. So by the time you guys are listening to this episode, Valentine's Day has already passed. But what is up with y'all in Texas, Ron?
Hey, bro. These folks in Texas are depressed, upset.
So the San Antonio Zoo and the Fort Worth Zoo. San Antonio is doing a fundraiser where you can name a cockroach, a rat, or a veggie after your ex or somebody who just pissed you off, and feed them to an animal of your choice. Okay. Fort Worth, however, is taking this a step further and says that you can buy a pound of shit. They said a pound of zoo poo, but a pound of shit and dedicate it to the name of whoever, and they will send you a certificate that you bought this pound of shit with. So if you wanted to send it to the person, you could. What the hell y'all got going on in Texas?
Look, bro, I guess folks jaded. I guess half the population have been cheated on. But I'm like, why y'all that mad? Why you that mad?
Okay, so the pound of zoo poo didn't really shock me because there's actually a thing, and I forgot what it's called, where they put the poo in the brown paper bag and they deliver it to the people's houses.
That's disgusting. I'm suing somebody.
But that's the thing though. Getting the poo in the bag and putting it on somebody. I forgot what like the term is it for. Let us know in the comments if you know what it's actually called. But that's an actual thing. So the poo thing wasn't surprising, but it was like, y'all,
why y'all that upset?
It's for $10.
I mean, okay, $10 ain't much, but I'm like, go take yourself out to eat. Go buy yourself a bottle of wine. Don't even get Stella Rosa. Get the high-end bottle of wine.
They might make them that mad. If somebody makes you that mad to where you would go to the zoo and be like, hey, I want to spend $10 on a pound of shit, and I want you to dedicate this to my ex. And look, I just feel like
you're not even over your ex if you're doing all that. You're not over there.
And then what? And then they give you a certificate and say you give it to them. And then what? Do you feel accomplished? Do you feel satisfied that you spent $10 for a piece of paper?
That's the type of person I'm
For
like,
for something that the animals do on a regular. Like, this is not like a special one-time thing like on Valentine Day. It's like all the animals just shit. And this is just the special shit day. Like, they do this on the regular.
That's one of those people I'll be like, look, you're gonna swing the block. You're gonna go back to them. Because if you're doing all this, you still like them. Why you even still got their address? Block them. Why you still got their address?
Yeah, if you take the time to send it. Now, I understand if you get the certificate and you're like, man, I don't even know where these people stay, and you shred it, you throw it away,
Go burn it, throw it in a trash can.
Right, or you just opt to not even get the certificate. But if you take the extra step and do give them the certificate, come on now.
You need to go heal.
Like, bruh. Now the cockroach, rat, or veggie thing, my
whole thing about that is, can you like pre-order that and then be like, hey, at this time slot, we're gonna feed your rat named Tom to this anteater or whatever. Like this
recording it? Like, are they gonna record it and be like, this roach is named Ryan. We're about to feed it to so and so and so.
Exactly, Mr. Snake Lizard or whatever. Like, are they gonna tell you about it? You got to schedule time to appear.
For the San Antonio thing, they said it's a fundraiser, so I can see it as, hey, this is something fun for us to raise some money. Like, come down here, give us some money. We'll feed. I don't know.
If somebody want to raise some money and they want my money, sell me some Girl Scout cookies. Them little chocolate. Remember them pieces of chocolate they used to give us in high school?
Let me ask you a question. You gonna buy Girl Scout cookies from the zoo though?
If I see a Girl Scout walking around there with her little trailer with it, I'ma trust her. They be wrapped. They be in plastic.
I guess, like, people do buy food from the zoo, so.
We be buying Girl Scout cookies out the trunk of somebody's car. They be hot. The chocolate that melted off the Thin Mints and the Samoas.
That's fair. We buy them outside the Walmart. That's
fair. I'm saying? Them cookies been sitting out there dealing with the elements.
I don't know. I don't know. Is there, like, if I put some Girl Scouts in a smelly ass zoo, like, does the smell just end up on the box and it don't touch the food, or just like what?
I mean, I don't think so. When I went to the San Diego Zoo, that was a big zoo. It wasn't on my margarita mix. I ain't smelled that. I had my margarita mix cup. I ain't smelled nothing on it when I took it home.
But where did you buy the margarita mix from?
In the zoo.
In the gift shop? Like, you bought it from the gift shop?
No, they had stands outside in the trees. You got the ooh, 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 ooh sounds all around you and stuff. It was out there. Because they be having the birds and the monkeys.
I just feel like that's an unusual place to buy Girl Scout cookies. Like, I feel it. Like, honestly, get the bag. Like, because who's in there anyway? All the families. Like, yeah, let's go, buy some Girl Scout cookies. Like, get the bag. But I just feel like the zoo is the last place where I would buy some Girl Scout cookies.
Man, to the Girl Scouts out there, get y'all little trailers or whatever, them little things they be toting around.
Head to the zoo. If you're not making no money standing outside that Walmart, get your wagon and head to the zoo.
Exactly. Wagon, there we go.
Get your wagon and head into the zoo. I wonder if they'll let you sell. I wonder if you have to get the zoo's permission to sell.
That is something right there. Since
they're already selling food, like, can you walk around the zoo with Girl Scout cookie boxes and sell them?
Girl Scouts of America, make a deal with the zoo. Make a deal with your local zoo.
Nah, for real. See what happens. Let us know.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know in the comments. We'll come back to that. Share your story.
Would you buy Girl Scout cookies from the zoo? That's the question.
For the Girl Scouts, for anybody who's involved with Girl Scouts, present the idea to sell the cookies in the zoo and let us know how that goes.
I'll visit. I'll go to Fort Worth Zoo.
If you work with the Girl Scouts, Ryan say he's buying cookies, not poo.
Not at all.
Cookies only.
Cookies only.
No mud pies. Cookies.
Leave the roaches on the side. I don't want none of that.
He said no. He said no mud pies. Samoa's only.
Man, damn, it's the best.
You said what?
It's the best.
It's not. And now I want to move on.
Keep going.
We gonna move on. We gonna move on.
You here to play. You here to play.
You here to play.
Keep going. The topic, we got an audience.
See, let us know in the chat if you want us to do a versus Tuesday on what's the best Girl Scout cookie flavor.
Girl Scout cookie tier list. Girl Scout cookie tier list, bro. There we go. Cause all the Girl Scout cookies in the 2000s.
All of them. Even the ones that got discontinued. We doing all of them.
Mm-hmm.
More big back activities. But getting into our first topic of the day, we're gonna start with our entertainment arena. A couple things have been going up in the air. We got the announcement for the My Hero movie, Mashoko's Tensei. What is it? Is it season 2, part 2?
Yeah, season 2, part 2.
All right. We got a couple announcements from Disney as far as movies coming up, and I thought I had another thing, but if I remember it, I'll bring it up. But the biggest thing that has been wrecking the internet, and I don't know, I would say is appropriately so, given the fact that we are almost maybe less than a week out from the series dropping. A lot of information has came out surrounding the Netflix Avatar: The Last Airbender Netflix series. Now, before we get into the discussion, if you are wondering what these changes for, you're in the right place. So let's go down the list. 1, the showrunners as well as the actors of the series have revealed that they made some changes to Sokka's, Katara's, and Aang's character. Sokka's in regards to toning down the sexism of his character from the animated series. Changes to Katara's character to remove the gender roles. Changes to Aang as far as the first book of him not going on as many adventures as he did in book 1 of the animated series. And the new thing I just found by doing research on the rest of these topics is that they are changing Aang's usage of the Avatar state to be more selective instead of how it was being used in the animated series. On top of that, the showrunner said that with this Netflix series, he said 2 things. I'm going to say the first one first, and then I'm going to say the second one. First thing he said was that for this series, they are trying to find a balance that appeals to the OG fans and people who like Game of Thrones. Then I found a quote today that said, the showrunner, Albert Kim, said to IGN, "I've used the term that this is a remix, not a cover, and that you've got to hit a lot of familiar notes, but you can't forget that this is supposed to be a new song."
No, this is not Ignition remix. This is not that. This ain't that.
This is not the Touch It remix.
They have taken away the core elements of Avatar. Aang's adventures? What do you think was all of season 1? Sokka being sexist? That was character development. What are we doing here?
I think so. The reason why they said they were changing some of the things because they said some of these elements didn't translate from the animation to the live action. And I don't feel, thinking of Avatar: The Last Airbender, I don't understand that statement, but with the fact that they are trying, I don't know, to try to make this more like a drama series, maybe I understand where they're coming from, but
that's the drama. They said they want to compare it to Game of Thrones. You know what Game of Thrones had in it? Sexism, patriarchy, genocide, go down the list. All of that was there. And that was a core element to Sokka's character development. He wasn't a strong bender. He learned how to use a sword in what, book 3 or book 4?
That was book 3, because that's when they was in the Fire Nation.
Yeah. So in my opinion, when you're saying all of this, you're trying to make it like Game of Thrones. Oh, guess what? We're Game of Thrones fans, huge Game of Thrones fans, and House of Dragon. Avatar already had those elements. The brutality, the genocide, the political intrigue. Avatar had all of that. It was toned down to fit the views of children, of course, but if y'all want to not tone it down, just show people skin burning off when you firebend. Just show someone getting frostbite when you get hit with ice. What are we talking about here?
I would, and we're gonna have to wait until the series to come out on like what actually to find out what they actually meant about toning down the sexism. Now I'm not like woo sexism, woo go sexism, but I do understand why that needs to be a part of Sokka's character. And when I was reading the article as well, when I was reading the responses on Twitter to this, is that yes, that helps his character development, but let's also say that this turns into the fact that Avatar has a lot of well written stand up female characters. And a lot of those moments were like Katara, at the Northern Water Tribe, the introduction of the Kyoshi Warriors, even when Azula, May, and Ty Lee showed up, like those moments are enhanced just because of the fact that Sokka has this mentality that's not really his fault when you look at the Water Nation and how they're set up. It's not far-fetched for him to have those ideals, but the fact that he has those ideals gives that way for these female characters to really like show them what's up, to really like to shine those lights on those characters that help him with that development. Like he's not just sexist because he's a boy.
Exactly. And my whole thing is rough topics in shows, sexism, drugs, genocide, all these rough terms, right? Triggering terms. If you're a good writer, you can incorporate all of these themes into a story without that in changing your message. Because having Sokka as a sexist character, he's from like this Inuit tribe in the Water Nation. That's what they're themed after. He was born in a tribe where women were supposed to do their own gender roles. That's not saying that you're promoting gender roles and saying that you don't support female equality,
Exactly.
but if anything, your theme is showing that women are equal when you have this male character exposed to powerful women.
Right.
So like if you take that away, it to a degree, and they're not going to like it when I say this, you're going to lower just a little bit some of the higher moments for characters like Katara, Azula, Lee May, and Ty Lee, and Suki, and all of them. Not Sukiana, Suki, the real Suki.
They know who we talking about, bro. We talking about
Avatar. But you see what I'm saying? Like these moments, like that's what made what was Suki's tribe again? Why am I misremembering?
Kyoshi Warriors.
That's part of what made the Kyoshi Warriors so cold. Like they whoop Sokka up, and I ain't over here like do. Oh, yeah, I heard of strong women before, and Sokka just over here like where they come from.
And that's the issue that I have with, because they said they're also changing pieces of Katara's role to remove the gender roles, but that's also an important piece of her growth because that's a big piece of the reason why she was so hell-bent on getting Paku to train her. It is the reason why she decided to fight him one-on-one so she could be trained, because she was she is basically after her dad's off fighting this war, doing whatever. They don't know where he's at. Her mother's dead, so she has to take on this motherly role, taking care of herself, Sokka, and everybody else in the tribe. So she had to assume that role early because, just like you said, that's just how it was made up. That was something that she felt like she had to do. Why Sokka did the man thing to hunt for food and base. And basically, if you really look at it, Sokka is the leader of the tribe. His dad and all the other men then pieced out, and it's Sokka.
Exactly. And so they rely on him.
Hold on. So it's not far-fetched for them to assume these roles and to assume, in the fact that they haven't traveled outside of the Water Nation to experience the way that these gender roles are handled in other communities. Because if we want to hop into like the Fire Nation doesn't have that type of thing. It's like everybody We got
Everybody can
females
be
in the
get their
army.
hands.
Right. Everybody can, you can be a provider. You can be in the army. You can be, on the high council with the Fire Lord. And it's like, but with them being confined to the Water Nation, it's not, and I want to touch on what you said. You writing the characters to have these initial beliefs is not you saying we are promoting these beliefs. You are just building a world that in this certain area, for these reasons, in this situation, this exists. But as we know from the animated series, that these characters do grow and these beliefs go away. Or they change their way of thinking.
And my whole thing is, why are you saying that doesn't translate to modern television? We still got murder. We still got genocide. We still got overthrowing kings and queens and coup d'etats and all of this other stuff. What are we talking about when we get to the Earth Nation? Where they had the Earthbender, that wasn't King Boomy's land, where they basically had this whole secret underground society that was controlling the government behind closed doors.
The Dali.
Lee and all of them. Like, these are all dark themes, so how do you pick and choose which dark themes can stay and which ones don't? If you think the audience is so sensitive that they can't watch a story and separate in their minds that this is fantasy, this is acting, and the purpose of it is to deliver me entertainment through a compelling plot, compelling characters, different events, a climax, and a resolution setup, then put it there. There's nothing entertaining about perfect characters. There's nothing entertaining about that.
And that's what I was seeing. And that's what I was seeing when I was reading in the article. They was like, your main character doesn't have to be perfect. I think for the first season of any piece of media, I think having your main character be flawless is boring. Because where do we go from here?
Every time.
Because where do we go from here? Where are we growing from if, we have a pitch perfect character that they have no flaws?
Exactly.
And I was also, seeing some things that it might not be as serious as we think as well. But then again, it goes back into your question of like, what exactly from the animation didn't translate well into the live action?
Because the hardest thing, in my opinion, just as a fan of Game of Thrones and Avatar, the only thing that doesn't translate well is the fact that they be doing all this bending and nobody gets burned. Like, that's the animation stuff that we didn't see. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. In my opinion, we talking about what didn't translate well, it's the fact that the world of Avatar should be way more brutal than it actually is. It's brutal, but if it wasn't for kids, it would be worse.
I would say in the animation, folks did get burned, but I think it's the technicalities of how firebending is used, and we don't have to get into the technicalities of firebending, but we know they be burning people because Wazuko I messed up. We know that fire be burning people, but I think it just goes into the usage of firebending, and I think and the other thing that they said is that they are going to expand a little bit more on the genocide of the Air Nation, as well as Kyoshi's story based on like the novels and the comics and stuff. And if they're going to show the genocide of the Air Nation, people are getting burned in the series.
And that's my thing. Now, that was the one good thing I did like. I was like, okay, you're calling this a remix. A remix is usually adding something fun, something spicy, something that's new. You don't really need to take away the hook and the chorus of a song to make a remix. You add a new verse. You fix it. You know what I'm saying? You enhance it. Showing the genocide of the Airbenders, that's perfect. That should be episode 1. If I was a showrunner, not saying I'm more skilled than them or whatever, my episode 1, let's show Aang as a kid, get that little introduction. Then we show him running away and he gets stuck in the ball. Or rather, we cut away from when he flies away till we got the genocide going on. Then he gets stuck in the ball and you end the episode with, and 100 years passed. Boom, your good intro episode. You had violence, you had intrigue in the character that ran away. Fans are going to know it's Aang. The rest of the folks going to be like, who is this? And now he's stuck in the ice ball. What's going on? And that's a fire episode 1.
And then let's talk about the changes to Aang, because we've been talking about Sokka and Katara, but they said they are changing the way that Aang is going to his journey for book 1. They said that, excuse me, that he's not gonna go on all the adventures as he did in book 1. That basically when he's gonna have a vision of whatever, what happens in that first time he goes to the Southern Water Tribe, or they said the vision of something that happens in the Northern Water Tribe, and he was, I have to go there and I have to fix this. But I feel like we're missing the point of the reason of why Aang was taking all of these detours.
Exactly.
So let me break this down for everybody. The reason why Aang ran away is because they, identified him as the Avatar, like when he was like 12. And this is around the same time that Sozin is, he's still rising up to power. They're conquering all of these nations and stuff. And it's like, hey, Aang, hold on. We need you, something. They like, hey, Aang, we need you to strap up and learn all of these elements because we need you to go fight Sozin. That's a lot for a 12-year-old, which is the first reason why he ran away. Now, he was not thinking that he was going to run away and get trapped in an iceberg for 100 years. But he gets trapped in the Avatar state inside of an iceberg for 100 years. And when you break out, you find out that the grandson of the dude that they wanted you to fight 100 years ago is still on the same bullshit that his granddaddy was on. And hey, you're still 12 and we need you to learn all these 4 elements so you can go fight this guy. It's the same deal.
And my whole thing is he's a child. Like, the whole point in him going on the adventures and not taking things seriously is because he has no affinity for what's going on. He's like, oh, no, I'm sure some airbenders are alive. Oh my gosh, I used to come here and surf with the fish back when we was in a world of peace. Like, his adventures were a reflection of the fact that his mind was not in the same state of time as everybody else.
I don't think it was that. I think it was the fact that he was still trying to run away from his responsibilities. But the thing is that as he went on these adventures, as he was taking these detours, he was learning the damage that the Fire Nation had dealt to these communities along the way. Like, this is the effect of the fact of you running away. And instead of him trying to come to terms with that and, strap up, get into the Avatar state, let's go fight Ozai, he's going on these little detours and trying, and like you said, he's still a kid. He's still trying to run away from those responsibilities and still try to live this carefree life because, the only people who know he's the Avatar is him, Katara, and Sokka at this point.
And most of those detours, if I recall correctly, only really happened in book 1. Everything became a lot more like streamlined and focused after that. Like, there was a few little side stories like with Jet and all of those little side stories, but they weren't really like detour fun adventures, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, what? Like, that's where I'm a little confused, because book 1 is an introduction to this character. He has to learn that the world is upside down. It's not what I expected. It's my fault. I need to grow up, handle this, and protect the people that I've loved, because all of the people I love from the past are all gone. You know what I'm saying? Like, he has to. That's the entire essence of book 1. Learning who your enemies are. So when you take away the adventures, what do we have left? We just have a SparkNote copy of Aang now?
And it goes back into the point of the main character doesn't have to be perfect. Like, yes, Aang is the Avatar, but he doesn't have to bust out the iceberg and like, I'm the Avatar and now I'm going to take on all of my responsibilities because that's what I'm supposed to do. Like, it took 3 books for Aang to finally buck up and be like, hey, let's go fight Ozai.
Exactly. And plus, he still had to learn bending along the way. And like, some of those adventures, let's not talk about. Well, that's in the future. I don't even know how they're going to handle that and if this series lasts that long. I was going to talk about like the owl temple in the sand that was stuck in the sand and all of that.
The thing that I'm afraid of, given all the changes to the characters and that this is book 1, I am afraid for Azula. I have many nightmares of how they could change how they might change her character, because Azula was a complex character in the animation. Even with the fact that, like you said, some of these heavy themes were dumbed down for the animation, even then, Azula was a complex character that did some very like, whoa, girl, what the fuck type actions. And if you are already saying that there are some pieces from the animation that's not translating correctly into the live action, when it's really her time to start shaking the table, what is that going to look
Azula's
like?
Azula's Avatar's version of Joffrey, since they want to keep making comparisons to Game of Thrones. That is a traumatized kid who's going to get what she wants.
Yeah. If we want to compare them in that aspect, yes. But and that's the only thing that I could think about when all this news was coming up at the same time. I was like, I'm very afraid on what they're gonna do to Azula. Are they gonna make her sympathetic? That's not a bad thing, but that's not her. That's not her character. Even now, with the new comics that are dropping with Azula, she's still not sympathetic.
You honestly, now I see why the original animated showrunners left.
Exactly.
Because I'm like, I'm not in show business, I'm not in Hollywood, but I'm almost like a 90% confident that the folks out there in Hollywood and Netflix was like, no, we got to change this. What are you talking about? That takes away the core of the show. No, we just got to change this. We got to change this. This isn't going to fit. Fans aren't going to like this. Who was the fans?
My theory is that they might be trying to cater to people who don't know. I won't say it's Twitter. I'm just saying people that haven't experienced the comics, the animated series, even Legend of Korra, and all of the novels, and will sit down and watch this for the first time. Because from you and me are speaking from the standpoint that we have basically deeply submerged ourselves into Avatar lore. We have watched the series time and time again as children and as adults to understand everything that's going on. But I don't know if they are just trying to appeal or if they're thinking in the terms of what's going to be the public opinion of somebody who hasn't experienced all of this and sits down and watch the show.
My whole thing is the public opinion. Let's talk about when Avatar had a whole resurgence. Before Avatar dropped on Netflix, and was that during quarantine or was that before? That little face, before it dropped on Netflix, nobody was talking about Avatar. It's not that it was a bad series. It was a series that came, we appreciated it, and it went. There were no conversations on social media for real. The few times it came up, we talked about how bad the movie was, and all of us were Azula fans. Then it had that Netflix resurgence, and everybody loved it. That's the whole reason this got greenlit. That's the whole reason all these other projects are coming. So when you say, let's take away the core elements to appeal to the folks who haven't experienced it, do you realize that those core elements are even why this got greenlit? Like, did y'all watch the show?
I'm sticking with my theory just due to the fact of who live action remakes are for. And we've talked about this with the Disney thing. Who's the true audience? Now, he said they're trying to appeal to OG fans and people that watch Game of Thrones, but we've already debunked that statement because
we are Game of Thrones fans, and what are we talking about?
So I don't know. I would like to truly know who the audience is for this series. Because if it is the OG fans, these changes that you're speaking of are taken away from the show's main message. So are we really the target?
But here's the thing: who wants to see perfection? Like, let's really just talk about Hollywood and the themes that have risen in shows and movies.
But my thing is that here's another possibility. With them saying that they are making changes to these characters, because we know that these were main flaws in these characters, by taking that away, in terms they could be a perfect character. Now, is the result, when we watched this on February 22nd, and with them taking those issues away, are those characters going to get new issues? And are these new issues something that's going to resonate, once again, with an audience that hasn't experienced Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Here's my thing. I would be semi-open to that if some of these characters' core issues didn't play into the core story at a large. As a whole, I mean. Because at the end of the day, if you make Sokka's issue the fact that he's struggling with, give me a random issue. Give me a random issue. Self-esteem or something? Like what his struggles with sexism and then following in his father's footsteps, taking on a leadership role before he was even ready and prepared, knowing that he was a child who was jealous of the Benders. If you take away the sexism, are you just going to emphasize the other three? That could work.
And that's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying. Like, yes, the issues that they're bringing up are the core issues that led to a lot of character growth in these characters. But is it possible that, like what you just said, they're going to limit those and then highlight the other issues that these characters had? And maybe they saw those issues more acceptable to present in a live action setting than what the animation did.
But what determines, this is what I want to know. What determines what is quote unquote acceptable? Like when we really talk about writing and people's sensitivities and everything else, what makes sexism unbearable in comparison to genocide? Like, in comparison to that, like Azula is a traumatized child. Like, unless they change her character too, she was neglected, and Zuko was abused. That's childhood abuse. That's child abuse, neglect, and abuse.
Mm-hmm.
That's worse than sex. That's acceptable. A dude who says women shouldn't do this is just whoa, don't put that in the show. Come on now.
I don't know.
Come on.
I don't know. I'm gonna be real. I don't know what the thought. You're not tripping. I don't know what the thought process is, and like I said, it could not be as serious as we think it is. But I feel like the fact that they brought it up makes it as serious as we think it is.
Exactly. Like, this is for y'all to go on this promo run and talk to people. This is what y'all talked about. Not that the bending is going to look astounding. Not, oh, we're going to show you the things that fans really wanted to see. No, none of that. Oh, we're just taking elements of the character. What?
Like I said, we won't know for sure what they actually did until the series drops. But I will say this. If it does not hit, y'all not getting a season 2. When I say there are a lot of people who have expectations for this, and the expectations were already lowered when the original creators left.
Facts. Honestly, our expectations were never that high, to be honest, if we being real.
I would counter that, because when the when the adaptation was first announced and the original creators were announced to be a part of the project, a lot of people when it was initially announced.
Okay, the initial announcement, yeah. When they left,
that's what I'm saying. When it was initially announced, yes, expectations were through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
Because anytime the original creators are involved, it's going to come out being heat, because they know their material.
Exactly.
And what I'm saying is that our expectations already dropped 3 years ago in 2021 when y'all said that the original creators left.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're getting a couple days out from the series, and now we're talking about character changes. We're changing the way the main character reacts to the whole situation. We're changing the way the Avatar state works.
Let's go to the next topic before I get more angry. Because you right. You right, bro.
I'm just saying, if this does not come out, if we can't look at this and be like it's solid, it's not coming back with a season 2.
I'm gonna be honest, Netflix. Be glad that the Blerd mob ain't big yet, because this mob review it's gonna be even worse than what it would have been if we weren't fans.
If they don't pull this off, cut the cameras. And let Avatar Studios come in. Because the thing about it, I'll give Netflix this. Them dropping the series in 2024, knowing that Avatar Studios is about to ramp up 2025 with the new series in the Aang movie. I'll give them that. Because if those movies in that series had dropped first, and then y'all turned around with this, and it doesn't hit, pack it up. You were definitely going to have to pack it up.
Pack it up.
The series got to be solid.
Because honestly, now that I'm thinking about, Netflix really just has went through an entire wave of let's make animations live actions. Because did we ever get any updates about Yu Yu Hakusho? Did that air already?
It's already out, but I
have not heard anything about it on my algorithm, and I got nothing but anime on my algorithm.
Nothing. I haven't seen anything about it being renewed. I haven't heard anybody talking about it. It's basically getting the opposite reaction of when the One Piece live action dropped.
The exact opposite. Everybody was talking about One Piece live action. Folks who ain't never watched an anime was hearing about it. I ain't heard none. And for all the folks, well, maybe it's not on your algorithm. My algorithm is filled with nothing but anime and manga. Nothing but. When Yu Yu Hakusho got announced, it was all down my timeline. I ain't seen nothing.
So, but they have to make this hit. The news isn't encouraging.
Not at all. Flawed marketing.
So, we're just going to have to see. We're going to, all these statements to know exactly what they meant, we're going to have to watch it. And it could be as simple as, because I'm going to make a comparison. I went to go see the Mean Girls musical when I was in Orlando. And they changed some of the jokes from the original movie because some of those jokes worked for that time period, but it wasn't going to work in 2024. But the changes to those jokes and some of those lines didn't take away from the point of the story of what Mean Girls is about. So I wasn't mad. And going to the Avatar The Last Airbender thing, it's possible that could be the same case. That they just changed a couple things and it doesn't take away from everything that me and Ryan just discussed happens the same way. They just tweaked a few things here and there. And it very well could be that. Or it could very well be we talking worst case scenario to where some of the things that happened, that this is a completely different book one. This is not even a remix no more. Y'all just sampled the title book one and made a whole new Avatar series.
Y'all took a sample. Y'all ain't even do a remix, bro.
That's what I'm saying. So
and that's my thing. My expectations are low because I said this when One Piece dropped. One Piece was the exception. It was not the rule. Most animations to live actions just don't work. Sonic is somehow working. Applaud them for that. But most of them just don't work. I don't know what's going on in Hollywood. I don't know if y'all just ain't got no fans out there. They just don't.
I don't know. So stay tuned on how this actually turns out. Y'all already know we got a mob review coming. Y'all already know. So best to be solid. Best to be solid. That could be the name of the episode. Best to be solid. Or you gonna get it from me.
I like a tornado flew around. I ain't gonna lie. I feel.
But let's move on to the next thing before we get ahead of ourselves with this Avatar conversation. But we're gonna move on into our video games. So, as you guys already know, we talked about this on the last episode. The Switch 2 is set to release sometime 2024. We've heard rumors that it's September 2024. There's also a rumor that this is around the time that Nintendo does their first Nintendo Direct of the year. It is very possible that they may be announcing the Nintendo Switch 2. So, along with that, There's a rumor that Sony is working with AMD to create a new handheld. They are deeming it the PSP2 because it's going to be a PlayStation Portable that can play games natively and won't just be a streaming device like the PlayStation Portal. And there's also a rumor that the next gen Xbox, the hardware is going to work similar to the Nintendo Switch, with having the portable piece as well as the link in to the consoles that you can play it on the TV. Now, if Sony and Xbox execute these rumors and come out with a handheld, which one do we feel like is going to be the superior handheld? And let's also add in the fact that for Xbox, that there was a rumor that all Xbox games are going to become multi-platform soon.
And Phil Spencer is supposed to be giving us an update in the upcoming week about it, the week of Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say this before we even get into this, because we have been labeled as Nintendo haters. Nintendo has always been a trendsetter in the gaming industry. When motion controls first got big, who did that? When handhelds got big the first time, with the Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, DS, DSi, 3DS, who did that?
Mm-hmm.
And encouraged everybody to do that. And now they've brought out, and now they've set the trend for hybrid play with the Switch and everything else. Now Microsoft and Sony are following suit. Big ups to Nintendo. Y'all are innovative when it comes to y'all hardware. I wish y'all do something with the games, but y'all are innovative with the hardware. Big ups to y'all. Y'all are recognized. Y'all are appreciated. The gaming industry respects you. Who would have the best handheld? Honestly, I don't know, because I ain't buying them.
I would say
I ain't buying them.
I think it's I personally feel like it's going to be between Nintendo and Sony. Nintendo, for all of the reasons that you just said. For up to this point, Nintendo has dominated the handheld industry. But I am going to say Sony just because of the fact that the PSP was nasty word for PlayStation.
I thoroughly enjoyed it back in the day, but I guess in the way that my life is set up, I work from home. Even when I travel, I just listen to music and go to sleep on a plane. That's probably the only time I use my Switch is when you and me go, when you and a group, we all go on trips. Otherwise, my Switch stays in the dock.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I just personally wouldn't see much value in Xbox making a handheld and PlayStation making a handheld. If they make completely new games, even then I'm going to be like, okay, is this a new game that just only works best for handheld? Because otherwise I'm going to be upset and be like, this could just been a console game that was given the AAA treatment. You know what I'm saying? Like that Assassin's Creed, I think Jade game that's coming out, that's not a console game. Like we could have just had Assassin's Creed in China on console.
Yeah.
And I get upset.
I still think it's going to be between Sony and Nintendo. But I think I agree with you as far as Sony. Like, just to look at how advanced the PS5 is, what is going to be the selling point for us to turn around and buy a PSP? Now, the PlayStation Portal, people did buy it. We went on a rant on like, what is this for? Why would we want to buy it? But even after
some people did buy it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, even after we said all of that, when the PlayStation Portal dropped, people were buying it. But I don't know. But the thing with the PlayStation Portal is that it's going into your question about, are we going to get new games? The thing was with the PlayStation Portal is that the games already exist on the PS5. So you're basically playing the same games going back and forth. Now, if we're talking PSP means that the game has to fit the specs of the handheld, which may mean that we might not get all of the games that are coming out on PS5 on the PSP. So PSP2. So what's going to be the selling point for us to buy this handheld? Because what I read, it didn't read hybrid console. Xbox, the rumor surrounding Xbox says hybrid console. This PlayStation one does not. So what's the selling point? If they move forward to it, if it gets out of the development stages and makes it to a PlayStation State of Play what's going to be the selling point?
Also, what's the deal with this console generation? Most gaming generations, I think, last 7 years. And did the PS5 Slim already come out, or is it coming out?
It's already out.
That's already out. I heard rumors about an update coming to the Xbox. And if console generations are supposed to last 7 years, we're in the beginning of 2024, 5, 6, 7. We got 3 more years until we should either the new console should drop or we start hearing about it. So is this going to be our console refresh? Are these going to be separate consoles that compete in a separate race that are supposed to have their own like generation? Like what are we supposed to expect out of this is my question. I could see PlayStation excelling. I kind of was honestly more content with Nintendo just sticking to it because it gives them an excuse to have horrible graphics on their games. But, I mean, just being honest. Like, I was cool with Nintendo doing it. I expect Sony and Microsoft to give some more love to the graphics side of things. But I'm like, what does this mean for upcoming games? What does this mean for cloud gaming? What does this mean for couch play gaming? Like, what is the end goal, if that makes sense?
So, I think Xbox might just be trying to find like what's that next, because they've been doing console this whole time. So I think the hybrid situation with Xbox is the company trying to do something new. So I can't really speak much on what's the target audience or like what's the selling point for Xbox, because I think the selling point is the fact that they just haven't done this before.
And they're trying to offer something new to the fans to get a
Right.
heads up.
And which is why I can't say a lot about Xbox. But PlayStation, I mean, like, we've been here before. Like, the PSP came out during a time where Nintendo was pushing out DSs and DSIs like they were like it was ice cream, like it was candy. We got a DS, a DSi, and a DSi XL within years of each other.
And PSP, all they dropped was the PSP, the PSP Slim, and the PS Vita, I think.
Right.
And then that was around the time PS3 got big.
The PS Vita didn't even sell well.
It didn't. I think right then, that's when they stuck to PS3, like it was around that gaming generation, and then they just said, forget handhelds.
Now, I think I saw something, and I could be wrong, but I want to say that maybe they were trying to compete with, like, the Steam Deck. So the only reason I thought about that is because you brought up the cloud gaming.
Microsoft trying to compete against Steam Deck does make sense, though. They already have the infrastructure for online gaming. They already got their servers that allow you to download online games. They already built hardware for PCs with Microsoft Surface Books and all of those. So them saying that they want to get in the cloud, them saying they want to make that hybrid that's for cloud gaming and on the go, it makes sense how that jumps into their model. But then that just makes it a PS Portal, PlayStation Portal, but probably a little bit more enhanced and not always have to be connected to the system. Does that make sense?
Right.
Which makes sense. But PlayStation, is it y'all are trying to compete with Nintendo, being that they have this hybrid console? Or are y'all saying, no, we're going to go backwards? Nintendo went and made hybrid. We're going to say, no, we're going to have handheld separate and console separate. Because then they're not really competing against the Switch. Does that make sense? In my opinion, they're not. They're kind of, sort of, but they're not really like. Nintendo has a hybrid console. Right. It is not just. It's not just a handheld. It's not just a couch play.
Are you saying it from the fact that if they come out with this PSP, that they would be competing in a different realm than Nintendo is with the Switch? Because
yes,
and I would kind of counter, because they do compare the Switch to the Steam Deck and that Logitech thing. Like, even when they talk about like the current handhelds, like Nintendo Switch is still in the conversation. And even when we talk about consoles, Nintendo Switch is still in the conversation.
Well, the Steam Deck is still a hybrid, though, or correct me if I'm wrong. The Steam Deck allows you to play your PC games that you would otherwise be able to play while sitting down on your desktop gaming PC.
But you don't. So, I guess
if I remember correctly.
Well, let's break down a hybrid, though, because you can get Steam without getting the Steam Deck. And I thought the hybrid piece of it, at least is, as from what I'm understanding from the Nintendo Switch, is that it's kind of like a hook in type thing.
The way I'm using hybrid isn't necessarily the hardware itself, but how you engage with it. The fact that I can play the same game sitting down on the couch with this tool, or I can play the same game on the move. An independent, solely handheld or solely couch play game doesn't have that interchangeability. Does that make sense? The Steam Deck, you're still playing the same PC game in handheld, or you can go to your house, sit down in your gaming setup, and play it on mouse and keyboard. The PlayStation Portal kinda is that too, because it's connected to the PlayStation. It's more like a Wii U from the way I heard it described. But if they're making a PSP and not a PlayStation Portal enhanced, you see what I'm saying? That's a whole separate handheld game. Is it supposed to be a Steam that can compete against Nintendo Switch and Steam?
Okay.
Or is it going to have its own games?
I see what you're saying now. I see what you're saying. And that I can't answer that right now until we get more information. And that's even if they decide like, hey, we want to let this go. We want to
exactly
ship this out, because right now it's just a rumor.
I'm interested though, because I mean, at the end of the day,
I was just gonna say the same thing you said. I'm interested to see if PlayStation executes on this PSP2 situation. I am curious to see if Xbox is going to double down on this hybrid console situation. What is that going to look like? And I'm curious to see, because we kind of a little bit talked about the multi-platform thing. I'm curious to see if that's true. What's going to be the selling point
for even buying an Xbox hardware if y'all making everything multiplayer?
Exactly. I will, if the rumors are true about the new console, and if it turns out to be true that all Xbox games are going to be multi-platform, unless you are a die-hard Xbox fan, what is going to be the selling point of buying this new console?
And here's the funny thing. I got two responses, because remember how we made that video and I was like, Sony fans, I told y'all weren't getting these Bethesda games. and I was talking all that.
And guess what they finna get?
It seems like they might be getting them. Here's my thing. It's upsetting. It's upsetting if Microsoft goes into this, everybody gets our game, and they become Sega. And the reason it's upsetting is because then there will only be two proprietary console manufacturers in the gaming industry. Because if they go multi-plat, all of their exclusives, all of their games can be found anywhere. There's no reason for a console. And if their console eventually fades out like Sega and Atari, well, now we only have two manufacturers and competition sucks. That sucks for consumers.
Yeah.
We want at least 3 competitors in any industry. Really, we want like 5+. But if we don't at least have 3, we the consumers eventually fail and lose.
Yeah.
Because it is what's going to happen that, oh, you want high-end graphics and rated M games? PlayStation. If you want the everybody 10 and up games, Nintendo. And that's it. That's not fun. You see what I'm saying? That's not going to work for us. That's not going to be entertaining. That doesn't benefit us.
I think it's going to come down to... I agree. I think Microsoft should continue to keep their exclusives, because Sony's going to do the same thing. All of Nintendo shit is exclusives, except for those ports that they get from time to time. But Sony's not going to turn around and say, hey, we making stuff multi-platform. So I think they should, do the same thing. But if they decide to make those games multi-platform, what this next generation of consoles is going to come down to the look, the feel, the loyalty of their consumers, and the specs. And those are going to have to be the selling points.
And unless they just, because as Sony has always done a good job competing, unless Microsoft just literally makes the most beefed up console, even then, y'all games still aren't exclusives. You see what I'm saying?
And that's all I'm saying. But reason why I said if they don't make it multi-platform, because everybody likes the way a nice console look. Like, just look at the PS5, the Xbox, and then even when the Switch first came out, the feel of it. Some people like the way, if if Xbox games become multi-platform, but I just love the way a PlayStation console, the controller, even the handheld stuff fits in my hand, I'm going PlayStation. And I think you would agree the same for Xbox as well. Like, and then
I've
like just like you said, the graphics, what do the graphics look like? And then the loyalty. If you're a diehard Xbox fan, you might buy the new console anyway and not care about the exclusives. If I'm a diehard PlayStation fan, I'm gonna buy the PlayStation thing and not care about um the other stuff.
and it really depends, because it's like, even with Microsoft going multiplayer, here's the funny thing: a lot of their exclusives have not been well received by other gamers nor Xbox fans. Like
Mm-hmm.
Starfield kind of dropped the ball. Bethesda, they dropped the ball with that Fallout 76, and now Microsoft owns them.
Do you think
Doom has fans. Like Halo dropped the ball with Infinite and the recent and the ones before it. 4. It's been dropping the ball with a lot of exclusive, and the only person holding up on the exclusive game side of things is really Nintendo, because all of theirs are exclusives, and then Sony. God of War and freaking
do
Ghost of
you think
Tsushima been carrying the flag.
I have a question for you. If they decide to go multi-platform, do you think that this might push Xbox to make better exclusives? Because even though the exclusives weren't well received, it was only a subset of gamers who were playing these games because of who it was available to.
It depends on their strategy, because let's say they only do certain exclusives. I could see it where, hey, the exclusives that failed, let's see what happens when we make a multiplayer. Like, yeah, I could see them saying, let's make Starfield multiplayer, because even though it didn't do as good from reviews after it came out for a while, maybe we still can get some sales off of it. I could see that. But if you start making Halo, y'all bread and butter, even though y'all effed up the previous games, if y'all make the next Elder Scrolls game, which is probably the highest anticipated RPG within the next 5 years, next to Dragon Quest, Dragon Age, and Dragon's Dogma, and the next Witcher game. Like, those are the RPGs. Baldur's Gate and Elden Ring were new, but those are the ones that gamers love. If y'all make that multi-plat, or let alone y'all don't do good at making it, oh, y'all gotta just put it in the trash. They just gonna become Sega.
Yeah, but I wonder if the fact that now they have a bigger audience and it's not just Xbox consumers or Xbox Game Pass consumers that are going to be playing these games, I wonder if that would motivate them to let's, make a better game.
They should have been motivated to make better games when they saw
And
their
and I
consoles drop since the
and I
Xbox
agree.
One.
And I agree. But I think the thing is, and we say this all the time, is that some companies are not going to change their strategy or change the way how they make certain products if their consumer base is going to buy them anyway. But now that they
That,
are but now that they're going, if they go multi-plat, they're going to be extending their consumer base. So with that, would they change their perception on how they create their content?
I don't think what it really depends on is what in their eyes is the green. Like, do these games that we as fans say failed, like Halo Infinite and all of that, did they fail from the business side of things? Because it still had a live stream service. If it failed from the business side, then I would say, yeah, maybe this would put some fire under their ass to do better. But
Mm-hmm.
the issue is, we don't know for a lot of those. I don't think anybody officially came out and said Starfield was a failure financially to the company.
Mm-hmm.
Like IGN and GameSpot and all of them probably gave their opinions, but I don't recall any Microsoft investor or the stock calls coming out and investors saying, "Oh, we're pulling away from Microsoft because their games are suckish."
Okay. So what you're saying is that if they go multi-plat, as long as the sales, if the business end is still making it,
Why
it,
do
it
anything
doesn't it
different?
doesn't matter. But the minute that they put out a game and the shit tanks, then it's like, okay, we need to what worked for your previous consumer base is not working for this extended consumer base with being multi-platform.
Exactly, because products get greenlit and approved when they do one of two things: meet expectations or excel at expectations. They only get dropped and a company tries to do something new when they go in the red and fail. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're still going to make another Halo game, I'm pretty sure, because Infinite still made some money. Starfield, I don't know if Bethesda's going to do a second one. I don't think we got an official announcement. But if we do get an official announcement, that means it did something good enough. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A game like Cyberpunk, CD Projekt Red was trying to fix their reputation. That's why they had to fix that. Their reputation was at risk, and games like The Witcher were successful.
Mm-hmm.
But when they fixed their reputation, Cyberpunk went in the green, way up because of that DLC and everything else. So it just depends. I don't know if Microsoft got anything that can put a fire under their ass.
I hear you. And maybe it might take them going multi-plat for that fire to happen. Because now it's not just, like I said, it's not just Xbox owners and Xbox Game Pass subscribers consuming your game. Now you got your Sony players. Now you got your Steam players or whatever, all participating in this game.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and we all said it sucked.
So we'll see. I'm interested to see how this next set of consoles go. And I really, whenever Nintendo announces the Nintendo Switch 2, that's going to get the ball rolling. Right now, they at that point they're going to be setting the standard. And we've said this before. Nintendo better come with it.
Nintendo trendsetter, just please fix y'all graphics and do something with Pokemon. Please do something with Pokemon. Y'all seen Power World? Y'all seen Power World getting big? Please do something with Pokemon. Do something. Do something.
Yeah, I was disappointed that I didn't get my yearly Pokemon game, but if it's because y'all are doing the next breakthrough thing with the Pokemon franchise, I won't be mad. Just show me what you got.
Hell, I wanted them to do some with Mystery Dungeon, but that was boo-boo. Because I'm a fan of the Mystery Dungeon OS DS franchise. I wish they did some with that Switch variant.
I don't know. We'll see. Tune in next time. Hopefully the Nintendo Direct for February happens before the next episode. That way we can discuss it. Depending on what drops, I don't know. We may have to do a mob talks if it doesn't make it.
Might have to.
If it doesn't make it in an episode, we might have to do a mobs talks. But we'll make sure you guys follow us on our social media platforms to get all that good news. But moving into our last topic of the day, we're heading into business tech officially.
Officially.
That
was business light. What we just did.
What we did was business light, diet business tech. Now we in
business zero.
We was in business tech zero. Now we in business tech all sugar, all artificial flavors.
Corn syrup. I've heard those corn syrup.
But so, I don't know if everybody's seen, but the Apple Vision Pro, I can't remember what episode we discussed it on, but it was last year, has now been officially released to consumers. And the news came out that Ready Player One is to be turned into a massive metaverse experience in partnership with Warner Bros. Discovery. Now, the article said Futureverse, an AI and metaverse technology and content company, announced the formation of Readyverse Studios, a studio co-founded with Ernest Cline, the novelist and creator of Ready Player One, and Dan Farah, producer of the 2018 Warner Bros. Film adaptation of the novel. Details on what the Ready Player One metaverse will are sparse from now, but the company says that they expect it to launch sometime in 2024. So we're going back to our favorite topic of the year. Is this the future?
Listen, bro. Yes, that's the easy answer. Yes, but I've been watching Shangri-La Frontier, and you know what? The player lays down in his bed, puts on his VR headset, and lays down, and Now we got folks with VRs driving their cars on buses and everything, and I'm like, wow, we're here. We're here. We're it's almost there. Once it gets to the point where it can trick your senses to where your brain is inside of the game, we got about 10 to 15 years. We're only 27. We're going to be in VR worlds by age 40, bro. We have lived long enough to see it, bro. We here.
I am curious to see what the Ready Player One universe would look like, because if you have seen the Ready Player One movie,
amazing movie, by the way.
Yeah, it's pretty much like a pop culture type world. Like, you remember at the end when like people were showing up as Ninja Turtles and they showed up as Master Chief as Halo. When I was reading the article, they said that the Readyverse is going to have like IP based areas. So I wonder if it's like an escape, which is what Ready Player One was. But I wonder if it's more for like entertainment purposes and not for like what we think it is. Like, you could just hop in there and live in it.
Hey, yo, maybe that's why Microsoft is going multiplat. We finna have all these universes they created in this new little Readyverse.
They might, if they make a deal. If they make a deal with, do you see them making a deal with Warner Brothers though?
Yes. Here's my thing. Because I see exactly where you're going. This may not be nearly what we expect it to be.
That's what I'm saying.
But that's fine though, because we still gotta start somewhere.
And
I agree. Once we get to a point where we even got little games where we're walking around as like, remember when the Mii's came out with the Nintendo Wii?
Mm-hmm.
If we in this Readyverse and we're Mii's walking around, even if all we can do is wave and say hi and then go play iMessage games,
mm-hmm.
that is still a great start. Because what is it going to look like in 5 years? Then 10 years? Then 15 years, and now it's affordable to the middle class public because you can buy a Readyverse system or the Apple Vision Pro or some other proprietary tool that does the same thing for less than $1,000. Once we get there, once we start here, bro, the options are limitless.
And that's where I was getting at. That I don't think this Readyverse, it's a start, but I don't think it's actually what we think it is. Like, this is a hop in and you can be in here for hours, like kind of what Meta was selling their metaverse thing to be. How they were showing like demos of somebody walking into a VR Walmart and purchasing items, and then they come out of the metaverse and they actually have these items at their doorstep. I don't think that's what this Ready Player One thing is supposed to be. But like you said, it's a start. And it could be. And then it just grows. And then if we want to talk about the Apple Vision Pro, the Apple Vision Pro is more like, and to me it's more AR than VR.
It's a mix of both, because you can, when you turn on the dial, you can make it to where you become fully immersed, and it's as if you're in another space.
Okay. But the way, I guess, I will say from how I've seen people using it,
yeah,
is I was seeing more of the AR aspect than the VR aspect.
But and that's the thing. That's probably the beauty of the technology. Having both of those technologies in one allows for both of them to grow. Because like, what happens when, we can get a VR space and go to Walmart and go shopping, or go to Amazon and put it in front of us. But what also happens if this helmet can switch to AR mode, we're in a physical Walmart. Hey, show me my house.
Well, what I've been
and let me place this in there and stuff like that. You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying. And I wanted to bring this up too, because maybe this might turn into the next iteration of the Apple Vision Pro. Even though we are seeing videos of people driving their cars, we've seen the video of the guy on the subway station. Apple specifically said that you are not supposed to use the Apple Vision Pro in those type of settings. Like, it wasn't made for that. And it went even further, that the people who were using it in those settings said that the screens weren't like in focus, like in the demo, or wasn't in focus as it would have been had they just been playing with the system in their house. But that's not to say that the next iteration of the Apple Vision Pro won't allow them to do that. So then it's going into what you were just saying.
And it's like, bro, you also got to look at how all this technology is evolving, because this is the fun stuff. Look at how all of this is evolving. We already got bending plastics and bending glass on some of these foldable phones. The Apple Vision Pro, here's the few obstacles it got to overcome. Having a long-lasting battery, having a camera that can deal with high motions, because it's like 9 or 10 sensors and cameras just in the front.
And
so when you're driving, exactly. The reason some stuff may be fuzzy is because it's trying to take in all that technology, all of those images, and process those images, show them to you in your eyes, and then it's also tracking your eyes, and it has to do this in nanoseconds.
And we said this on the last episode too, because you remember we brought up the fact that it's 2 computer chips inside of it. First thing they got to do, and I think you said this, the first thing they got to do is get that to 1 chip. Then they got to figure out how to make that joint smaller.
Exactly. Once it can get to the point where this Apple Vision Pro can do what it does and even better, but it's no bigger than ski goggles, then it can drop down to like probably the size of like those glasses you get from the eye doctor when your eyes are dilated, and then probably to the size of aviators. Then we've made it. You see what I'm saying? And then while all of the hardware is evolving,
you remember them Spy Kid glasses?
That's what I'm talking about. And once the hardware evolves, here's the thing. We can't miss out on the fact that the software is already evolving. Metaverse existed. It just didn't get as much investment because the hardware wasn't there to match it. But the software is going to continue to evolve. Did you see what I sent in the Instagram group chat where Disney was working on a movable floor?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you're basically like an animated, I don't know what you call that space, where you can go in every direction. It's omnidirectional, but you're not actually moving. Once VR headsets, AR headsets evolve, the hardware, the software, we're going to be in Ready Player One in like 15 years, bro. Probably 20.
I'd be curious to see, because what all of this, and you hit the nail on the head. What all of this sounds like right now is it's the fun stuff. It's the entertainment aspect of it. So what's going to happen in the next 5-10 years when we're like, okay, let's start putting some of these lifestyle, I'm going to call them lifestyle aspects. Like, can I hop in VR and walk to Wells Fargo and handle the business I got to do? We'll go back to the Walmart situation. Is that actually going to be a reliable thing to do where I can just, VR shop? I don't even have to step in the store.
Because it's better than shopping online. Now I can see how it looks. Let me see how it physically, how heavy is it? How does it compare to my body when I try on clothes? If the headset scans my body, now I can go to Macy's, because it's going to be the big retailers that jump on board, not the small ones. Target and all of them. When I want to, they got these plants in stores. Let me see it from every angle in my actual house with my VR headset on.
And Amazon has something like that where you have to do it from your phone, but like, I could see it being
evolving even more than that.
I can see it being easier in the fact that with the headset, it has if we're going back into the cameras, of how they have that view of like the whole area. Because you could get so much into the phone screen, but if you had that 360 view, like, yeah.
And I think we talked about in the last episode, and I know these conversations came up again in some of the reviews I've seen, like MKBHD and all of them, but like having all those cameras at these big NFL, NBA, football league, and all of these different games, like the cameras in those games have evolved so much. But now what happens when you got an ESPN package where you purchase it with your VR headset? You can watch the game from any angle like you're actually there. They got cameras now where it's like you can track the baseball, track the basketball, track the football while it's being flown, getting in there right next to the own line and defensive line in a football game. Now apply that to an Apple Vision headset. You see what I'm saying? Once the apps get enhanced. I saw someone where it was a concept, I don't think it was legit, where they was watching, I think it was an F1 race, kind of like NASCAR and all that, but like the Italian leagues and everything. And the map was in front of them, like a virtual, like a virtual map was sitting right in front of them, like Jarvis in Iron Man when he has like the schematics in front of him, he can just drag the screens around. It was like that, but the F1 race, so you see the entire track, just the cars moving. Imagine you, Antoine, and Galvin playing Mario Kart, and I'm watching the stream with my Apple Vision headset, so I see y'all on the track and who's car is who, and then I can get behind the wheel and see what y'all doing. Like, the possibilities are endless, bro, when the software grows and the hardware does alongside it.
Yeah. Definitely.
We limit it to our imagination at this point because now we here.
I think it's just right now. I would like to see in the next 5 or 10 years when like you said, when the technology and the hardware and everything starts matching up, who's gonna invest and what's going to be and what comes out of the investment.
Mm-hmm.
Like we just listed the possibilities for clothing stores, but which clothing stores are going to invest? And is that going to be the idea, or are they going to take it a step further?
Right. I could see any industry doing it, but it's like you got to see who's going to bite. I see Meta biting. I see Google biting only because Google is an advertisement company. Before any of y'all, Google is an advertisement company, even before it's a tech company. Do your research. I know Google's going to bite. I'm pretty confident Microsoft's going to bite. They already got their HoloLens. I ain't seen no new iterations created.
Mm-hmm.
Tesla. What happens? Forget picking up your package from Amazon and Walmart and getting it to go. These new smart cars that are hitting the roads, where what happens when you can connect your Apple Vision Pro, drive it alongside the AI, you're not even in the car, and you got store pickup. The Walmart man coming. The Walmart was, you got an empty car, pop the trunk, and the Walmart man puts your packages in the trunk, bro. Come on, bro.
Where you're going. I see where you're going with this.
You picking up the kids while you at work in your Tesla, but you really at work with your headset on because you got to be there late.
When I say we're not ready for that. We're not. It sounds cool. I'm not saying like, oh man, we shouldn't do that. I just feel like we're not ready for that. I just don't. We're there.
We're already there.
I understand that we're there. But I think we talked about this a long time ago when it's switching people's mindset. It's switching people's mindset because I feel like with the driving situation, it's so much that goes down. It's so much that goes down with driving, with people being in the car. And now you telling me ain't nobody in the car?
Cause look at it, bro. Look at it. I'm like, when we was talking about Uber buying drones and everybody and Amazon shipping stuff, they do that now in Dallas. They're doing that now. There's a website where I can go. They advertise on YouTube. I can have drones shipping me stuff. But we got smart cars. What's the hybrid with smart cars, autopiloting and doing everything on their own versus people driving them? Oh, I know a good in between. High-tech VR headsets that can connect to a network where the driver is kind of virtually in the car guiding it, alongside the AI, picking up their kids. They connected to the phone, the speaker system. Hey, y'all, I'm running late. I'm picking y'all up. I'm going to stop by Walmart, even though I'm at work, because I'm doing some accounting or something. You're an accountant. You still doing budgets.
Child neglect up 3 points.
Oh, yeah, it's going up by 300%. Kids ain't never seen their parents because they work in 15-hour shifts.
But they picked me up in the Apple Vision Pro car.
Look, bro, think about it, bro. You in the office.
We finna be like Shuri on that scene on Black Panther where she was sitting in the lab and and she was like, put this on top of the car and I got you.
That's exactly what it's going to be, bro. And we already there. Like, we got to look at how the dots connect. The software's coming for the gaming. Amazon already got stuff that allows you to bring products into space. We got smart driving cars and autopilot already evolving. All of this is already here. It's just got to get connected. These big corporations already communicate and trade anyway. Bro, we there.
We there. I would like to see how it evolves. Like we said before, they doing the fun stuff now. But what happens when we get into transportation? What happens when we get into these other industries? I am curious to see how it evolves. who buys in, who's invests, and what comes out of it.
Look at a company like Uber. For all the investors out there, Uber been in the red for years. I think they still don't really get much money back. But you learn when it comes to like companies, they probably, even though they're in the red for running, they probably still would lose. They would lose more money if they shut down, when they got to pay off their debts, their resources, and all that good stuff. So that's why some companies, even when they suck, they still run. Uber's just waiting for smart assistants to and autopilot in cars to be accepted on a national basis, because they're going to get rid of the drivers. They're going to have this AI. You're going to put on your virtual headset, and you're going to be able to see your virtual driver in the car. And you can have a whole conversation with them.
I would like to see. I'm interested. I would like to see what comes out of it.
Stay in shape so we don't be like them folks in Wall-E.
And they fucked up the planet, got on the spaceship, and they still not doing shit. Still
lazy.
Still lazy as hell. And I'm just like, y'all just finna go to another planet and do the same thing.
That's what we talking about, bro. That's my only fear. My only fear is from this technology, if we was to talk about the bad sides,
is that ain't nobody gonna get up to do nothing. Ain't nobody gonna get up to do nothing.
We're physically going to be weaker and unhealthy. And then also mentally, we're going to be weaker because they're already talking about iPad babies, how antisocial people are, anxiety and all that's on the rise because people don't have those human interactions. That's where I hope that we have like some regulations or things that allow for us to be more social. Like we're podcasting right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can as much as y'all focus on the games, can y'all make sure that me and Phoop can go to a lobby and in person, even if we don't see each other physically like in real life, can we see each other online and still do something and socialize?
And this is gonna be my last thing before we shut down. I wonder, like, what fitness companies will buy into this, and the only one I can think of is Peloton.
Because they already do that thing where you can run and it's like you can see like a field in front of you and all that on the expensive ones, right?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I would hope that even with these headsets coming out, people still find ways to be active. Like if Peloton was to buy into this and some of the activities that they have, like if I have my Apple Vision Pro on, but I'm on my Peloton bike, but the exercise makes it look like I'm on a trail, we biking up some mountains or something like that, then, I could, I'm still being active. I'm still doing my Peloton, but it's just that what I'm seeing is more interactive and maybe a bit more motivating than me just sitting on this bike in my house looking at the screen.
Mm-hmm. I know we gotta close. I'm gonna give you a philosophical question that I saw on X. If AI and VR got so great to where it could trick the senses to where when you put it on, you're actually at the Grand Canyon. You feel the wind, the heat on your skin. You see the canyons. You hear the sound of birds, the lizards, and the sand. And you take that helmet off and you're back in reality and you're at your house. Would you still spend money to go see the Grand Canyon in real life?
That's a good question. I think it would depend on personal preference at that point. If it's my personal preference, like being there, like in person, like I think this is what I want to say. I think it depends on whether or not you want to take the journey. If I'm not the type, if I don't want to ride in the car for hours, I don't want to book a plane trip. Like I just want to see the Grand Canyon and call it a day. Put on the headset. I see everything, take it off, I go to bed. I went to the Grand Canyon. But if I'm that type that enjoys the journey of getting there, then I might. Because it's kind of like the same thing with, because I watch roller coaster videos on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And when we went to Orlando, like I watched all the rides we've been on. I've already seen them. I know when it twists this way. I know when we drop this way. I know it does the little loop-de-loop right here. But like actually experience it, waiting in the line, getting to Orlando, putting on the strap thing. I think I found that more enjoyable than just watching it on the screen.
I would agree. I would prefer to get the real experiences. But for the folks whose preference is like, the Grand Canyon 7 hours, what happens when 7 hours becomes 3 or 2 or 1 or a 20-minute drive?
I think I would find it more convincing if, say, I've already made the journey to the Grand Canyon, and the Grand Canyon is just my place of serene peace, and every time I want to calm myself down mentally, I think about myself at the Grand Canyon. Now, if I had this Apple Vision Pro, Ryan done pissed me off for the 3rd day in a row. I don't have the resources to drive myself to the Grand Canyon right now. So let me put on my headset and just virtually enjoy me being in the Grand Canyon, and I didn't even have to move or buy anything.
It's an interesting concept. For me, I like that because that's me with the Yosemite Mountains. If I could put on a headset that tricks my senses at least 80% of the way, I would love to sit on a mountain next to a waterfall. I would love that.
Yeah. I would say that when that technology comes out, I think, and like I said, it depends on personal preference. I would suggest to everybody to get the personal experience first and then just play around with the VR.
I just feel for the younger generations. We millennials, we grew up with technology. Gen Z, y'all grew up on technology, but these, I think Gen Alpha, they're being taught and led by the technology.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder how's it going to affect them when they're grown and this technology has evolved to this point and they're on it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They forget going to history class and reading a book. They're they're sitting in class with headsets watching history transpire.
They in the middle of World War II.
Look, the clean version though. They're gonna filter it. They're gonna have the blurry screens
you gotta take AP history for that.
Look, your parents gotta sign off for you to get the real stuff.
Man.
But it's crazy, bro. Limitless potential.
True. But I'm gonna go ahead and shut this down. So once again, Ryan, I want to thank you for joining me on another episode of the Blerd Mob Podcast. I want to thank everybody who took the time to listen and or watch this episode today. Whether this is your first time or 50th time listening, it is always appreciated. Make sure you guys follow us on social media. We're on Instagram at the Blerd Mob Pod. You can find us on Twitter at the Blerd Mob, and you can find us on Facebook and TikTok at the Blerd Mob Podcast. Also, we have a community Discord now. So check out the description of this video, this audio version. Tap in. We give updates for what's coming up for the week. You'll be the first to get notified when we go live, whether it's game streaming or a Mob Talks episode. And then also we have some things in the work to provide exclusive content for people who join the Discord. So make sure you tap in. And if you're feeling oh so generous, make sure you support the mob. We have 2 ways you can support. 1, we have our Entertainment Earth affiliate link. So if you want to get the Funko Pop that Ryan just showed, or any of the Funko Pops behind us, make sure you check out that link. And some of the proceeds of your purchase comes to us. If you don't want to, dabble in the Entertainment Earth, we also have a Ko-fi link. So make sure you hit that link and send us a donation. All of these donations go to equipment and software that we use to bring you guys these episodes today. So, with all that being said, this is the mob checking out. Peace.
Because for a long time growing up, we had to watch black movies like Friday or trauma movies like The Color Purple to see us. I mean, not like Friday's bad, but it's not good either.
But it's not The Little Mermaid. It's like
it's not The Little Mermaid.
Not a big block.